Those Swedish meatballs, guys. Today we're here with Wolter's World Eats, and we're going to be talking about the traditional Swedish food. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive into this good old Swedish food.
Hey there, fellow hungry travelers. Mark here with Wolter's World, and today we're in Stockholm, Sweden. And today we're going to talk about what are some of the delicious bites you want to have when you come here to Sweden. I know
It's got to be
when you think
meatballs.
of Sweden, you think of Swedish meatballs. So I'm just going to start with that one. It's an obvious one. You have to have her. Whether you've had an IKEA or IKEA back home, Swedish meatballs are a thing. And yes, when you come here, you will have meatballs. You can drop the Swedish part when you are here. But the thing is, when you have meatballs, whether it's at a lunch buffet or you have it at the Vasa Museum has really good meatballs as well. You have it.
Wait, Vasa, what is that? That's that ship. Isn't the Vasa the huge ship or whatever? I think that's what that is. You can have those there? The Swedish meatballs there? They must have a cafe or something.
Where it's always going to come the same way. You have your meatballs with mashed potatoes, and then there's going to be these pickled cucumbers. Those are the hidden star, by the way. And then you have the lingonberries. It's kind of like sweet tart berries. And you're going to put that on top and you eat it together. Oh my gosh. It really is as wonderful as you imagine. And everyone loves to eat them at IKEA or IKEA, however you want to say it. I don't judge, okay? But people love to have it because it is one of those things.
I thought it was IKEA. Is the real way to pronounce this IKEA or something like that? Maybe like an accent? I don't know. But he said the pickles, something you put on it. I mean, I like pickles like by themselves and whatnot, but I don't think that would taste good on top of that. I do like Swedish meatballs, although I don't think I've had real authentic Swedish meatballs. Just had kind of Swedish meatballs in general, so probably some fake stuff. But that sounded really weird. I like the tart berries, I think is what he said. I don't know if it's the cranberries, but that I really do like tart stuff.
You actually do have when you're here. And I'll be honest, I've traveled a lot in the Baltics and in Northern Europe and in Scandinavia. And Sweden, I'm gonna give it to Sweden. Sweden has the best meatballs. Best meatballs in Northern Europe by far. Okay?
Yeah, I would assume.
You have to forget there's that gravy with it too. Oh, so good, so good. Another thing you're gonna have when you're here is, or at least you're gonna notice, there's a lot of fish. Yeah, there's a lot of fish. You'll have seal, which is herring, and you'll have pickled herring, and it'll be with some kind of, either a mustard, it'll be in some kind of sauce. You might see it at breakfast. You might have it for lunch. You might have it for a snack. You might have...
What are these little trays? Why are they like separate things? It almost is like what we get here is they have a little different sauces in each one, but these are like, I don't know. It's like an appetizer where you get a little bit of each thing. I think that's a really cool idea. I like that.
On bread, you might have it all kinds of different ways, but herring does pop up. Now, another fish you're going to see quite a bit is actually salmon. And you can get like, you'll see salmon on the menu like a salmon steak kind of thing, or you could, salmon maybe in a fish soup.
They had salmon roe all over it.
Probably the one you want to see the most is a gravlax, which is basically the cured salmon. And the best way I think to have it is like basically an open-faced sandwich of it. Like you'll see that at restaurants, you'll see it at cafes, you'll see it at little snack bars. Well, it literally just be like a glass door that you open up and take out a plate, and it's got the rye bread, and it's got the salmon and some other stuff on there as well. You can't go wrong with that.
What was the
and
sauce?
Another seafood thing that kind of goes on the same way. I guess I'd call it, in English, I'd probably call it like a shrimp salad sandwich, which totally is a misnomer because it's an open-faced sandwich. Remember, here, you can get normal sandwiches. They love their normal sandwiches to go around. Like if you're on the train or you're in the park, you see people at lunch, don't be surprised they're having just a normal sandwich on like kind of like a dark bread baguette. But this open-faced sandwich, it's got shrimp and egg on it, mayonnaise, kind of like you have that. That's a really popular one as well. But those are kind of things you'll see a lot like when you're walking around in the cafe kind of thing. I mean, I guess
I don't like cocktail shrimp like that. I mean, maybe if you had the sauce with it or whatever, but just looking at that sandwich, I wouldn't buy that. I don't know. I would pick it apart and eat it like each piece by piece. I don't know.
Little snack you'll see, the go-to like kiosk food when you walk around at late night, the hot dogs, you can get that as well. So you do have some like little tasty small treats to get when you walk around.
Now I know I talked about the salmon sandwich and the shrimp sandwich, but also there's just the normal sandwich you're gonna get.
That looks better.
Here in Sweden. Whether you're on the train, going around at a picnic, or just people grabbing lunch on the go. Sandwich is the way to go here.
But let's focus more on like Swedish food in general. And I know I mentioned the lingonberries with the meatballs, but lingonberries itself, you'll be surprised how many times it pops up. Whether it's the berries to go on your meatballs, or it's going to be in a jam, or it's going to be in a soda form or a drink form. It really comes up quite often. So don't be surprised if lingonberries kind of sneak into your diet after your trip here to Sweden. And just berries.
What do lingonberries taste like? Is it because it looks like a cranberry, I guess is what it said, and he said it was tart. So I'm wondering what that closely relates to, like to American food or what we typically would eat.
General, they love forest berries here, and you'll see that with the fruits you'll see at your buffet or your breakfast buffet, or that you'll see your friends eating. Also, you'll see it in the jams and the juices. Like berries are a big thing, whether it's in the pies. Oh my goodness. Pastries. Go to a baker when you're here. You can't beat them. Like, Swedish pastries are wonderful, but probably the most important one you want to have is the cinnamon roll, the kanelbulle. I'm sure I'm butchering the name, but the kanelbulle, the cinnamon roll here is wonderful. Like, I'm averaging 3 a day. Yes, I have a problem.
Dude.
But I don't care. One was for fika, and that one doesn't count. Oh, if you're not sure, fika, okay, the Swedes, they love to like sit and chat and take some time, and they'll have like coffee and like a sweet, maybe it's cookies, maybe it's a cinnamon roll, but you'll have that. And the cinnamon rolls here are amazing.
The designs are really
cool. People here love
cool.
coffee. So if you get a chance to talk to someone and go, hey, you want to go have fika? And you'll go have the coffee. You'll have like little sweet treats together, and it's really a nice thing. But my go-to one, I get the hot chocolate, and then I get a cinnamon roll. Oh, so good. But honestly, any of the pastries, you can't go wrong when you're here in Sweden. Like, I don't understand how everyone here is so fit and trim when their food is like so like...
I'll tell you why. This is a very easy one, because overseas, they don't put a lot of the trash ingredients in the food that we have here in America. It's like banned over there. You can't even do that stuff. And I think this is a big one. Their portion sizes are way smaller than ours. Like, we have to eat till we are full every single time we eat. And then we eat at least 3 meals a day. It's absolutely horrible. Whereas over there, if you eat the right food, you only really need to eat like once, and you're good for the entire day. It's so easy that I don't understand how people, I don't know. Well, me, I just like to eat, right? It's just fun, but I think that's because of our culture and the way we've been brought up. We just want to eat all the time. So it's not good for you to do that. You need to give your body a break.
Filling.
I don't know if I can stress this enough, but there is one thing you're going to have when you're here, and it's very important to the Swedish diet, and that is coffee. You will see coffee everywhere, not just in cafes, but you see random embassies that sell coffee. You go to stores, you go to hotels, you go to restaurants, there's like a coffee pot waiting for you. They love their coffee here, and they drink a lot of it, so I think it needs to go into things you're going to eat and drink when you're here.
So the designs on the rolls, they showed one right there too, but that first roll they showed where it was like all wrapped around and stuff, that was like really fantastic looking. I like that a lot. I would probably get that specifically because of the design and not even because it was like a pastry. That's how I work. If I like the color of something, probably I'll just eat it or drink it just because of that.
And speaking of wondering how people say so fit and trim, you'll also notice that the Swedes really love candy. Like, you will see candy shops all over the country, but also you'll see there'll be bulk candy for sale, even in like the 7-Elevens and the little, the little like kiosks around town where you just kind of scoop it and put it in, and they love their candies here. But do watch out for the black salt licorice kind.
Oh, I don't like
I'm not a fan of it.
licorice.
The locals love it, so they might try to sneak some in, but don't be surprised if you're walking around just with literally a plastic bag full of candy.
You used to be able to do that at the malls around here, and then they like took it away. I would assume it's just because people are always just constantly stealing all the time, and then like they just don't want to even do anything about it. And they lose money, so I don't know. We used to have them all the time, but I guess it's still there. You can just do that all the time. Just go there and scoop up the candy. I don't know. People are honest in Sweden, apparently.
And if you're not sure what candy to get, yes, you can always get the little Swedish car kind of things. You know, the stuff you get at IKEA all the time, Yes, you can get those too. But
okay, if I were to look at this, I'd probably go for these ones right here. Just remind me of like salt and pepper. What's it called? Gosh, sunflower seeds. But I would probably get maybe this one because it's like berry, strawberry looking. And probably, I don't know, that one looks really weird. It looks like it has worms on it. Probably this one, and this one. Those are probably the ones I would get.
honestly, the candy shops all over, I'm surprised like you're so thin and your teeth look so good, because in the US we do that and we all look chubby like me with our teeth falling out.
At least he's being
Seriously,
honest.
though, if you're gonna get into the candy, you need to get the cars, okay? You can get them at the airport. I'm at Stockholm Airport. You can get them. They sell them, okay? So if you didn't get to go to the candy shop yet, you can grab some on your way out, all right?
Now, what could be one of the reasons why they're a little bit healthier, if we look at some of the things you eat like for breakfast or for snacks, knäckebröd, or this basically cracker bread, is a really popular thing, and you'll see it, and it really looks like it's a super dense brown cracker. It's made out of rye, and you just put some butter on it. Or maybe put some butter and a little slice of cheese, or butter, a slice of cheese and some cucumber on there. basic kind of stuff. When you're here, that's like a very popular thing. And if you're gonna
Those
have
look really
breakfast here
good.
in Sweden, that knäckebröd with the butter and the cheese, or maybe like a slice of ham on it, that's kind of a typical breakfast. Just some bread, cheese, or bread and butter on it, things like that. You'll do it that way. It's a very simple kind of like nice thing to get started and go from there to start your day.
So I have to say though, I heard him say like Brot, and it's very close to German because bread is like das Brot, right? And then there was another thing he said, Imbus. I thought Imbus was a German word, and it was like the short, fast, quick food type deal. And then he said it was there. So maybe that's just like an overseas thing in general for food. If you want to get something quick and easy, you just call it an Imbus type place. So somebody has to, I guess, correct me or let me know why he's doing that. Or maybe it's just Swedish is kind of like German. I don't know.
Also, yogurt, very popular to start your day with as well. And I know for Americans, we usually think breakfast is pancakes. Well, guess what? Here in Sweden, you have Swedish pancakes, or as they like to call them here, pancakes. Yes, the
They got
pancakes
pancakes
here,
too? The
they're
special
not
kind?
like the thick pancakes you have in the U.S., but they're not super thin like
They look
the crepes you
tortillas.
have in France. It's somewhere in the middle. And what you're gonna do, remember I talked about those berries? Yeah, you put some of the jam on there, some of those berries on there, some cream. Oh, you can't go wrong with that. And if you're not sure when you should have the pancakes, like let's say you're renting an apartment here and you're like, well, I don't know how to make pancakes here. Thursdays, go get the pea soup and then follow with some pancakes. Believe me, you'll find some restaurant that has that combination.
Interesting
Now,
combo.
speaking of lunches, I think it's important to mention, when you come here to Sweden, they really like international food, so sometimes it's a little hard to find like traditional Scandinavian food aside from like a meatball here and there.
Really?
So if you want to do that, I recommend looking for some of the buffet lunches that are around, and it'll be like kind of like a cafeteria setting kind of thing. That's going to be your better chance to get like the regional dishes, like the meatballs and the herring and the toastskagen, like the toast with the shrimp on top, these kind of things. That's going to be your better chance to get those in those kind of like cafeteria lunchtime settings. Also, I do recommend checking out the options at the cafes and the restaurants inside
that
of the
music group.
museums. Not just here in Stockholm, but all over, because they like to put cafes in there, and they usually have like some regional tasty dishes at a fair price, let's say, because it's Sweden. It's not cheap anywhere. So I just want to give you a heads up for that. But those buffets, or smorgasbords, as my grandparents used to always say, yes, they do have those quite a bit here, and it's a way to save money. I will say, if you do go to the smorgasbords, the kind of cafes, the buffets, and or they go to cafes in the museums, don't forget you do bus your own table here. They don't have people to come out and do it for you. You've got to do that. So just a heads up.
Yeah, just don't be
Some things to
lazy.
remember when you're eating out in Sweden, especially lunchtime, it's a lot more hands-on, let's say. So don't be surprised if you go to a restaurant and the water, you go get your own water. Like you go get it and fill it up. They'll call it a water table. They'll have that.
Oh.
Also, you'll probably get your
You know
own.
what? I would say that's probably better because every time I'm at a restaurant, I'm literally waiting for a refill. It's like, I'm done with my meal now. It's like, do you want a drink? No, not anymore. What am I going to do? Just sit here and just drink my drink and that's it? No, I wanted it with my food. So maybe that's a good thing. You can just get up and go get your own drink.
Utensils as well. Also, like I said, you probably have to bust your own table too. But one of the things I do like is sometimes they'll actually have a bread table, so there'll be bread and butter. So you get as much bread as you want, as much butter as you need. You can do it on your own. You don't have to worry about them bringing it. You can go grab it yourself.
There was this restaurant near where I live to where you can go and get the chips and salsa like as much as you want, and you just keep going and refilling it. That is a really cool idea. So, and they do it there too. So it seems like it's my place I want to go.
So a couple of things to remember, when you're going out to eat. This is more lunchtime. Dinner time's a little bit different, but lunch, it's much more of a you can take care of yourself kind of thing. Very independent.
Now, another thing you have to realize, when you come to Sweden, they love potatoes. They really love potatoes. It's not just the mashed potatoes with their meatballs. Like, you'll see boiled potatoes, you'll see mashed potatoes, you'll see fried potatoes. You'll see all kinds of different kinds of potatoes where like, oh, it's kind of just fried a little bit and then I smash it myself. I mean, potatoes are kind of big here and you'll mix it with different things, but
I did
for
not
me,
know
I just can't
this.
go wrong with just the normal potatoes here. They're quite nice, right? The little ones, they just get cooked.
Yeah, the petite
Can't go wrong
ones.
with that. Another thing, if you like
Wait, why are potatoes so big there? I never knew that. I thought it was a big thing in Germany. Maybe there's a correlation. Someone has to let me know. Let me know for real though.
potatoes, if you like the Bauernfrühstück in Germany, this is one of those things that kind of like related to like a mashup. You can get the pitipana, which is basically like eggs and some meat, like a sausage or something, and then they have chopped up, fried up potatoes with some veggies in there as well. Like that's kind of like a really fortifying thing. I don't see it as often as I used to when I used to come here back in the day, but it is still something you could try. And let's be honest, when you come to Sweden, one of the things you kind of think about is, the vodka and the Swedes and their partying kind of vibe when they're
I've
outside
never
the
thought of
country.
that, for real.
Well, here in Sweden, they're much more chill. But if you're looking for alcohol, beer is very big here. You have lots of local brands you can drink, no big deal. Schnapps, having schnapps is kind of common. Maybe with your herring, you'll have your herring and your schnapps. That's the thing you can have. But I think one of the important things of drinking when you're here is, what do you do after you drink? What is going to be my snack food? And I talked about the hot dogs. You get those hot dogs at the kiosks all over. But you also have Max, and Max is their version of McDonald's, but better. Just get the Max Original with the original sauce, like for the dipping of your fries.
Wow.
You'll be happy. And here's the thing, it's a more affordable option, so it's not you trying to be a...
Wait, is it affordable because it's like cheaper than McDonald's, like as in the food is not as good quality, or is it better quality? I would assume it's still better quality, just easier on your budget.
That person just eating fast food. No, it's a cultural experience, and I'm saving money. Very practical.
Okay.
Also, if that's not going to do it
Yes.
for you late night, because there's not a lot of late night eating here, your probably best bet for late night eating in Sweden is probably getting a kebab from a kebab shop, and they are pretty good. I would say if I rank them in my European kebab kind of things, I put Germans, when they make the kebabs, the doner kebabs, they're like top. I'd say Sweden is number 2, like they're really good. Now, if you do come here in late summer, I do recommend if you can get to a crawfish party or a crayfish party, you can do that.
Crawfish.
I will tell you, if you don't know how to eat them, they can be very, very messy. So maybe watch the locals, and it's okay to ask the locals. I know the Swedes seem a bit reserved, but believe me, if you ask them, they will gladly tell you and show you. And if you offer them, here, use one of mine to try it on, they'll be happy to show you that way. But honestly, that time, like you'll have these parties, it's like August-ish, like late summer, I feel like it's August, going a little bit after, like in that time, you'll have that. It's kind of a fun thing to do when you are here. Not it's something you can really get a lot like in towns and in cities, but it's more of like a party kind of atmosphere. So if you do have the chance, go to one. Now, I know for my American friends, they're probably going to ask, well, Mark, my family in Minnesota, we eat Luda Fish. Right, like, well, no, they don't really eat the Luda fish here, like the stinky fish thing.
Fish.
No, the strömstorming, the really, really stinky fish as well. It's not really something you actually eat here. It's more of an internet craze than actually something people eat, because they
I
don't
think somebody
actually
said
eat
that.
it at their houses, or some places don't allow it. It's just, you can't even take it on a plane just in case. I think they have to burn the plane. Yeah, it's just not a thing. Like, that's one of those things. Like, Sweden is one of those countries you realize that things change as families have moved away. After the families have been in the U.S. for 200 years, the taste of what is Swedish cuisine has changed, because you have the new Nordic cuisine. So you have lots of great restaurants around the country that aren't just like meatballs and herring. There's all kinds of other stuff. So don't forget to try the new Nordic cuisine when you're going around Sweden, because there's really fantastic restaurants. And when you go to the restaurants, because I need to talk about restaurant stuff, I talked about you bust your own table, but don't expect like over-the-top service here in Sweden. It's more of the I'm here. It's not like rude, but it's just more like, yeah, what do you want? Okay. They walk away because they get a good salary. You don't tip here. Like, oh, you don't have to tip when you're here, when you go to restaurants, but just be aware of that.
Okay.
Though, if you're in some of the tourist places that when you pay with your credit card, they might offer you to put more money in. You don't have to, okay? Just FYI, you don't have to tip when you're here. Also, when you're going out to eat, a lot of times it's credit card only, so probably you don't need to get any cash out to deal with that. Even if you're getting a hot dog, like at a kiosk, credit card, tap and go, usually good to go. Now let's talk about some sweet treats when you are here. Now I already talked
I think I'm gonna have to do a video of me trying to order in Swedish like I did trying to order in German. So I'm gonna have to look for something. Stay tuned for that one, you Swedish people.
about the cinnamon roll, and I talked about the pastries. You have that, but there's some other things you can get when you are here. You might see the chocolate balls, which is basically like cocoa powder and oats and butter and stuff mixed together. It's not baked, okay? So it's not like a cooked chocolate ball. It's just a chocolate ball. It's kind of one of those fun things you might make with your kids, at home in the wintertime. They have those.
The
Looks like
chocolate
coconut.
balls are low-key really good. Don't miss these.
Is it coconut?
Get the chocolate balls.
Then you have the Princess Torta, which I
That one
remember
looks good.
seeing it, and it was on the Great British Bake Off years ago, and now I had to take pictures and send it to my kids. But basically, you'll see this green dome. Okay, and basically all it is, it's just sponge cake inside with some filling, and then it's got the Marza Pan covering on it. That's all it is, but it looks really cool, so you can have that when you're here.
So the Princess Torta, see it's got the sponge in there, but a lot of cream. It's not always green. You can get other things on it, but I just grabbed this one at the airport. It's actually really good. That cream is way better than the sponge, but
I like how you can just get this food anywhere. It's not that you have to go into the city, walk the streets, get it at like a corner store or one of the little pop-ups and stuff. You can literally get this stuff anywhere. I mean, he's in the airport and he's getting the exact type of food that I would want. That's so cool.
Yes, get that when you're here. You're welcome.
Also, though, I think if you want to get something that's super traditional, you want to get the like cheesecake when you're here, the oskaka.
Oh.
I know I don't speak Swedish. I'm not gonna lie to you. And the Swedes, when I try to pronounce the words, they say that's nice. We call it cheesecake. I'm like, okay,
It's
but it's
English.
Like, it's not like America. It's not like New York style cheesecake. It's a lighter version of it, so you don't feel as heavy. Again, I'm starting to see why they're not as big having all this food. It's not as bad for you as like American cheesecake.
Exactly.
But that's a really nice thing to have.
So after I made my video, I keep seeing these punschrolle everywhere, and it's the green is Marza Pan. It's got chocolate on the ends, and it's like a chocolatey, biscuity, smushed up middle. I've seen it so much, I got to put it in the video. I have never had it before, so we'll see what it's like.
I feel like it should be a marshmallow on the inside.
You can definitely taste the Marza Pan. Yeah, I know I didn't have this on my list originally. So, not all of the sweets you're going to get here in Sweden are fantastic, but there's a lot. From the candies to the torts. I had a blueberry pie tonight that was fantastic. You'll eat interestingly and meatball-y and tasty when you're here in Sweden. So, let's get back to the video. I don't know if I'll have any more of this. But it'd be wrong. It'd be so in Swedish not to finish it, so I guess I will.
Yeah, I was about to say he's going to eat it all. Don't lie to yourself, Mark. You like it.
When you come here to Sweden, you do have a lot of options for food. International food is big here. Probably if you go out with your friends, they're going to be like, hey, let's go eat sushi, more than they're going to say, let's go have some meatballs or sill. So do be aware of that. But honestly, you can have a good time when you're here. You have some good food when you're here as well. So what are some dishes you think that tourists should have when they come to Sweden? Whether it's traditional food or restaurants they should try out, put in the comments below so we can help other travelers enjoy this beautiful country and stay fit and trim eating the local food. Bye from here in Stockholm.
So other than knowing that Sweden has such great food now from Wolter, the one thing I really want to know is why is Germany and Sweden so much alike? And why does it seem like it's so Germany influences Sweden that much? I'm very curious, guys. Maybe someone knows. Do you?